Welcome to the online public engagement presentation for the Jewel Bridge Road Structure Improvements Municipal Class Environmental Assessment. The Town of South Bruce Peninsula has retained Tatham Engineering Limited in conjunction with TerraStory Environmental Consulting and Amic Consultants Limited to complete the study and present the findings herein. My name is Emma Wilkinson and I am the project manager from Tatham Engineering. This video presentation is available commencing June 21st, 2024, and the comment period will remain open until July 12th, 2024. This engagement presentation has been prepared to provide the following: a way to establish channels of communication with members of the public and stakeholders, provide the details of the background study area, purpose, and objectives, present the need and justification for the study and the issues to be resolved, identify the alternative solutions and the potential environmental impacts of those solutions, and to seek input from comments from members of the public and stakeholders for consideration in the evaluation of the alternative solutions used to identify the final preferred solution. Members of the public and stakeholders are asked to review the material that is presented and the material available on the town's open mic page, ask questions of the town and/or consultant, submit comments to the town and/or consultant. These questions and comments can be provided through the open mic page or by email. The website link and email contact information will be available at the end of this presentation. The study area encompasses the Jewel Bridge Road structure, the approach roadways on either side of the bridge. The bridge is located on Jewel Bridge Road, approximately 600 meters west of Spring Creek Road. An additional area included in the study is the unopened right-of-way between 6th Street North and Spring Creek Road. The purpose of the study is to achieve the study objective through completion of the following tasks. Firstly, identifying and defining the problem that is to be addressed, then developing alternative solutions to improve the overall safety for users of the bridge, identifying the location, extent, and sensitivities of any affected environments which the alternative solutions may impact, assessing and evaluating the alternatives given the potential environmental impacts, then identifying the preferred solution, and establishing any necessary means or measures to mitigate the identified impacts of that preferred solution, all to satisfy the municipal class environmental requirements. The objective of the study is to identify and facilitate the implementation of improvements to the study area, Jewel Bridge Road structure. In doing so, consideration must be given to the following: the transportation network as a whole, long-term asset management, including capital and maintenance costs as well as implementation, the natural, social, economic, and heritage environments, as well as giving consideration to the effects of and on climate change, the needs of various users of the study area, such as pedestrians, cyclists, equestrian riders, recreational vehicles, and motorists. In this regard, it recognizes the complete nature of the area system in the sense that it needs to address the transportation and travel demands of all users while also considering the overall impact of the improvements to the surrounding environments, including aquatic and terrestrial wildlife, plant life, local heritage value, climate change, and financial implications to the town and its taxpayers. The Jewel Bridge Road structure was constructed circa 1920 and is over 100 years old. It has reached the end of its useful service life and as such has been identified as in need of replacement. It is currently posted with a maximum 5-ton load restriction, which was imposed in 2011 following a structural evaluation and reinforcing of the existing concrete stringers at the supports. As part of the town's management program, the bridge is inspected every 2 years. In 2020, the visual inspection identified the need for replacement based on these observations. First, along the underside of the concrete deck, there are shallow sections of concrete that have fallen off and are now exposing reinforcing steel. These are referred to as spalls. The top right photo on this slide shows one area where this was evident. The outer arch beam on the north side of the bridge, as well as the interior beam at the north side, were both noted to have longitudinal cracking and spalling of the concrete at the middle of the span. Delamination of concrete is a term used when a layer of concrete starts to debond from the underlying concrete, but where the surface concrete has not yet fallen away. The base of the arch beams are experiencing extensive delamination as well as cracking and spalling. This is shown on the mid-height photos on the right side of the slide. Concrete at the lower portion of the west abutment is disintegrating, as shown in the photo on the lower left of the slide. The concrete bridge barrier is also showing signs of deterioration, with spalling and delamination occurring on the inside face of the north barrier. This style of barrier predates current crash test requirements. The photo at the bottom right of the slide illustrates the typical condition of the barrier. The single-lane bridge is a constriction along this section of two-lane roadway. It is also adjacent to a curve on the west approach. As a result, there are limited sight lines for drivers approaching from the west side, impacting their available reaction time to vehicles and other users approaching from the east over the bridge. The Municipal Class Environmental Assessment, or Class EA requirements, are dictated by the Class EA process as developed by the Municipal Engineers Association. In essence, it is a formalized and standardized process for completing municipal infrastructure projects, ensuring that the required steps are followed, which includes a number of opportunities for public consultation and engagement. The study requirements or choice of schedule are based on the type of project, potential impacts of the project to the noted environments, and the overall construction value. In the case of the Jewel Bridge Road Structure Improvements Class EA, we are following the requirements of a Schedule B Class EA, which encompasses phases 1 and 2, as well as phase 5. This flowchart illustrates a simplified version of the Class EA process. Phase 1 entails the identification of the problem or opportunity upon which the project is based. Phase 2 is intended to identify and assess alternative solutions to addressing the problem or opportunity, including the identification of the recommended solution and ultimately the preferred solution. In other words, what needs to be done to address the problem or opportunity. And lastly, Phase 5 encompasses the design and construction or the implementation of the study recommendations. Throughout the process, there are opportunities for public input and engagement, starting at the project commencement, public open house or information centers, or in this case, online public engagement. Upon notification of the project completion, there will be a further opportunity to review the study documentation and provide additional comment. We are currently in the public engagement process for Phase 2 of the study detailing the alternative solutions. As previously mentioned, the bridge is located on a local rural road with a semi-urban environment. It has a rural cross-section with ditches on either side of the road rather than curb. The existing bridge provides a crossing over the Sauble River. This crossing, as mentioned, is limited to vehicles with a gross vehicle weight of 5 metric tons or less. This will generally exclude larger emergency service vehicles like fire trucks and standard snow removal vehicles. There is also deterioration occurring at several of the bridge elements. The bridge is over 100 years old, having been constructed in 1920, and has undergone previous rehabilitation and repair. It has exceeded its design service life. Although the existing municipal right-of-way in the study area is 20 meters wide and the road is 2 lanes wide on each approach, the bridge is a single lane wide and results in a constriction of the roadway. The location of the bridge poses a safety risk as there are limited sightlines from the west approach due to heavy vegetation and the horizontal curved alignment of the roadway. Although this road serves on average only 200 to 499 vehicles per day, those volumes do increase in the summer and especially on summer weekends as tourists and cottagers visit the Sauble Beach area. In consideration of these existing conditions, a problem or opportunity statement has been defined. This statement is: Jewel Bridge Road Bridge has exceeded its design service life, is deteriorating, and has been posted with a 5-ton load limit. There are limited sight lines when approaching the bridge from the west, and emergency vehicles such as fire trucks and snow removal vehicles cannot cross. The town of South Bruce Peninsula has identified the need to assess alternative solutions at this crossing to improve safety while minimizing impacts to the surrounding residents and environments. Upon establishing the problem statement, we move into Phase 2 of the Class EA process, which focuses on the alternative solutions. Step 1 of this phase is to identify alternative solutions to the problem. The Class EA guidelines define alternative solutions as feasible alternative ways of solving an identified problem or deficiency or addressing an opportunity, from which a preferred solution is selected. Note: alternative solutions include the do-nothing alternative. 6 alternative solutions have been identified in this study. A. Do nothing. B. Permanently close and remove the bridge. C. Reroute traffic along the unopened road allowance between 6th Street North and Spring Creek Road and close or rehabilitate the existing bridge. D. Rehabilitate the existing bridge. E. Replace the bridge with a new single load bridge. Or F. Replace the bridge with a new 2-lane bridge. An initial pre-screening of the alternatives to identify any of the alternatives that could address the problem statement was conducted. This screening confirmed that do nothing will not fully address the problem statement. No improvements will result in the continued deterioration of the bridge and lead to the eventual closure of the bridge. Removal of the bridge requires all through traffic to be detoured onto alternate routes within the road itself, only servicing local traffic on either side of the bridge. The detour routes would be relatively short at 12 kilometers or 15 kilometers and would not affect fire services as the 5-ton limit on the existing bridge does not allow for fire services to cross now. This detour would not affect emergency medical services on the west side of the bridge, but it would change the travel time to the neighborhood on the east side of the bridge from 4 minutes to 10 minutes from the nearest fire station address, 21 Sauble Falls Parkway in Sauble Falls. The nearest hospitals are in Wyerton and Southampton. Access to these locations will be unaffected by the closure of the bridge. The bridge crossing is located in a residential area and is relatively narrow right-of-way at 20 meters. It is used by local residents as a walking and driving route and is part of the South Bruce Peninsula ATV trail system as part of the roadway route to access the Sauble River trails. The road is also used by cyclists as part of the Bruce County coast-to-coast route, as well as people on horseback. Closing the road would have a large impact on the adjacent properties, increasing the drive time to access amenities in the Sauble Falls and Amabel Sauble Community School. As such, this alternative is considered to have too high an impact to residents and has not been considered further. Additionally, rerouting traffic to the unopened right-of-way between 6th Street North and Spring Creek Road requires the construction of a new section of road and a new bridge crossing of the Sauble River. This creates a new alternate route, shorter than those noted by only closing the bridge. Closure of the Jewel Bridge Road bridge at the structure would have similar fire and EMS impacts to Alternative B. However, roadway safety will be improved by a 2-lane roadway and a bridge using current geometric standards and a straight horizontal alignment through the unopened right-of-way. However, the new crossing may result in a higher traffic speed and volumes through the residential area on 6th Street North to the south of the new bridge crossing. Traffic calming measures may need to be considered to mitigate the speeds under this alternative. Environmentally, this alternative has the highest impact. It introduces a new road prism and fill through a Grey Sauble Conservation Authority regulated area and floodplain. It is expected that to obtain approval, a soil cut and fill balance overall within the floodplain would be required to obtain a permit and mitigate negative impact to the upstream water levels during larger storm events. To avoid negatively impacting the upstream water levels during these storm events, the roadway could be designed for slight overtopping with an appropriate bridge opening, or the roadway could be designed for no overtopper with larger bridge opening. Both of these result in a larger bridge crossing and increased costs. The new route will require extensive removal of mature trees and vegetation, affecting animal and bird habitat. Removal of trees near the banks of the river may also result in increased water temperatures, which are unfavorable to fish and other aquatic species. In addition, the consolidation of soils underneath the new road may affect groundwater levels and flows. Socially, this alternative has the benefit of avoiding in construction impact to road users who can continue to use the Jewel Bridge Road bridge until the new structure has been built. But financially, this alternative would be the highest cost, requiring extensive new road construction, tree clearing, new bridge construction, rehabilitation or removal of the Jewel Bridge still, and modifications of the road and retaining structures to support new cul-de-sacs and construction of turnarounds at either approach. It may also result in the need for property acquisition. In consideration of all these impacts, opening the road allowance and constructing a new road between 6th Street North and Spring Creek Road has not been considered further due to the too high of an impact financially and environmentally. It has a considerably larger economic impact than all of the other alternatives. The remaining 3 alternative solutions have the potential to resolve the problem statement. Rehabilitating the bridge will reduce the safety concerns and extend the lifespan of the structure. However, the bridge will continue to have a load restriction. Replacing the bridge will eliminate the load posting, improve the safety, and there is opportunity to improve sightlines and remove the 1-lane constriction to improve traffic flows under summer weekend traffic conditions. The feasibility of the alternative solutions depends in part on the nature and location of the transportation system, the nature and location of the problem being addressed, and the comparative cost of the alternative solutions on the town's capacity to finance the extension of services. TerraStory Environmental Consulting, Inc. completed a review of the natural environment conditions within 120 meters of the bridge and provided input and mitigation measures for the alternative solutions under consideration. The study area consists of natural features such as woodlands and the Sauble River, as well as the greater landscape, additionally including rural residential lands. The study area is designated as a mixture of shoreline development and environmental hazard within the town's official plan. There was significant woodland and wildlife habitat identified in the overall study area, as well as many fish species known to inhabit the river. Of the significant woodlands identified, none are located near the potential footprint for construction to rehabilitate or replace the bridge and are not expected to be negatively impacted. 8 special concern or provincially rare species have a possible likelihood of occurrence within the study area based on their preferred habitat. There are 4 endangered bat species and 1 threatened fish species or their habitat that are considered to have a possible likelihood of occurrence within the study area. Based on the assessment completed, only minor impacts to the candidate's significant woodlands and fish habitat are anticipated, provided the recommended mitigation measures listed on the slide are followed, and no impacts to the candidate's significant wildlife habitat or potential habitat for endangered species are anticipated. A Stage 1 and 2 archaeological assessment was carried out by Amick Consultants Limited. The entirety of the study area was subject to property inspection and photographic documentation concurrently with the Stage 2 property assessment by test pit survey at a 10-meter interval to confirm disturbance on October 4, 2021. No archaeological sites or resources were found during the Stage 2 survey of the study area, and the following recommendations were made. No further archaeological assessment of the study area is warranted. The provincial interest in archaeological resources with respect to the proposed undertaking has been addressed, and the proposed environmental protection lands within the planning application retain archaeological potential and must be subject to a Stage 2 property assessment in advance of any ground alteration in these areas should any change in the zoning or intended use of these lands be proposed. The proposed undertaking is clear of archaeological concern. A screening checklist for the bridges and a cultural heritage evaluation was also completed by Amick Consultants, with fieldwork undertaken in September of 2021. The evaluation identifies that the Jewel Bridge retains cultural heritage value following application of Regulation 906 of the Ontario Heritage Act. Its heritage significance centers on the physical and contextual link to the transportation industry, as well as its perseverance as one of the oldest remaining bridge structures of its era. A separate heritage impact assessment should be conducted prior to any modification of the structure. Amick provided recommendations to accommodate the heritage significance of the structure based on the alternative solutions being reviewed. A detailed architectural recording is recommended to be made of the bridge prior to removal or modification. This includes if the bridge is to have no alterations made, as it will deteriorate in the long term. Replacement structures are recommended to be designed to incorporate aesthetic features to resemble the original structure. Additionally, a recording of the heritage character of the existing crossing should be visually preserved as a cultural heritage landscape feature. The social environment includes any matters related to existing residents and area tenants, as well as the general public. Several matters for consideration in relation to the social environment include the following: noise impacts to area residents. This will have the greatest impact to adjacent properties during construction. The safety of the crossing is of the utmost importance. Consideration of whether this crossing is required to remain in place. And while the roadway approaches and structure do not meet current geometric standards, the town has not reported any operational issues, collisions, or traffic delays. No expansion of right-of-way is deemed necessary, and no property acquisition is anticipated. Traffic management will be an important aspect of the decision process for the alternatives. The structure is used by area residents for walking, cycling, and horseback riding, and is part of an ATV trail. In addition, the Amable Sauble Community School is 1 kilometer to the west of the structure. The nearest alternate crossings of the Sauble River are the Sauble Falls Parkway on Highway 13 to the north and Side Road 15 to the south, providing approximately a 12 to 15 kilometer detour in either direction. The ATV trail and horseback riding use of the road would dead end at either end of the bridge if it was removed during any construction work or closure. The alternate routes noted above are the nearest crossings and not practically feasible as detours for non-vehicular traffic, including pedestrians, cyclists, horseback riders, and ATVs. Step 3 of Phase 2 is to identify the magnitude of the net positive and negative effects of each alternative solution with respect to the environmental factors and identify the mitigation measures. Here we have prepared a preliminary matrix to show the identified positive, negative, and neutral impacts on each alternative solution, categorized by the various environments. This matrix will be updated upon receipt of all stakeholder and public comments in order to complete the evaluation and select a preferred solution. Alternative A, do nothing, although it does not fully address the problem statement, is carried through in this matrix to provide a baseline on which to compare the other alternatives. It is noted to have the following impacts. The safety of the bridge will decrease over time. There will be no improvement to the load carrying capacity, roadside safety, or barrier protection. There are no immediate impacts to the environment or habitat, existing abutting lands, and there are no immediate construction delays or road closures. There are no immediate archaeological or cultural heritage impacts, and this alternative does have the least overall construction costs. However, it has the greatest overall maintenance costs. There are no expected impacts to climate change, and the hydraulic capacity already exceeds the design capacity requirements. Under Alternative D, rehabilitating the existing bridge is noted to have the following impacts. The safety of the bridge can be improved. Barrier protection can be upgraded to standard. Roadside safety can be improved with approach barrier improvements. There would be no improvement to the load carrying capacity. It will have the shortest extension of service life of the other alternatives. There are no significant impacts to the environment or adjacent habitat. Any potential impacts can be mitigated with best practices. There are no impacts to existing abutting lands. There's a shorter construction time and road closure in comparison to full replacement. There are no archaeological impacts. There is minimal impact to the cultural heritage as repairs would be sympathetic to existing aesthetics. A separate HIA is required prior to modification of the structure. There are lower overall construction costs than full replacement. However, there's greater maintenance costs. No permanent increase to emissions, and the hydraulic capacity exceeds the design capacity requirements. Under Alternative E, replacing the bridge with another single-lane bridge has the following impacts. We can increase the load capacity to the current standard, removing the load restriction. Barrier protection can be upgraded to the current standard. Roadside safety can be improved with approach barrier. The site does meet low volume road requirements to maintain a single lane structure. The constriction in the roadway would remain. This option does have the longest extension of service life along with Alternative F. There are potential for impacts in areas adjacent to the existing substructure during construction. There's an increased review requirements from agencies. There would be no impacts to the abutting lands. There would be longer construction time and length of road closure than rehabilitation. No expected archaeological impacts. The greatest impacts to cultural heritage would occur by removal of the existing bridge. And again, a separate heritage impact assessment is required prior to modification of the structure. This option has greater overall construction costs than rehabilitation, but it does have the lowest maintenance costs. There's no permanent increase to emissions, and hydraulic capacity will exceed the design capacity requirements. Under Alternative F, replacing the bridge with a new two-lane bridge has similar impacts to Alternative E, with the added benefit of removing the traffic constriction by having two lanes. There is slightly larger disturbance to the land and surroundings, and it does have the greatest impacts in areas widened beyond the existing substructure and road layout. There are several steps remaining in the study that are required of both the Class EA requirements and also the public as it relates to the public engagement and input. To complete Phase 2 of the Class EA process, we will review and address public and stakeholder comments received and complete an evaluation of the alternative solutions to identify the preferred solution. Once the preferred solution is identified, it can be recommended to Council, and once accepted, the project can move to Phase 5 implementation, where the preferred solution can be further developed with details for implementation and mitigation. The design requirements and mitigation measures will further be addressed during the final design. This video presentation and a PDF version of the presentation slides are available on the town's open mic website for public review and comment. Use the QR code on the slide for quick access to the website. As additional background reports are finalized, they will also be posted. It is suggested that as part of your involvement, you take the time to carefully review and understand the provided information. In addition, comments can be submitted directly on the Open Mic website or emailed to the contacts listed on the slide. It is requested that public comment be provided by July 12th in order to be considered in the identification of the preferred solution. If online engagement is not easily accessible for you and/or you wish to discuss your questions in person, meeting times are available the week of July 8th. Please call the town to schedule a meeting. We wish to thank you for your continued interest and participation in this study and look forward to receiving your comments. Should you have any additional questions, please do not hesitate to contact either the town or myself. Thank you.